Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another episode of Quran in English. My name is Ahmed and I'm happy to be back to continue my read through of the Quran to see what I understand, to give you a perspective on what I'm doing here. I believe in the messages brought down across the prophets, across Judaism, Christianity, and Islam to some extent, of all varying degrees. I believe that the Quran is the words of God, and I'm trying to understand as much as I can. And I sometimes struggle with my own faith and my own perspective and my own motivation, so I may not be the best example, but I am learning and I'm sharing my learning process with you. I'm looking at the wrong camera now. And so hopefully you will benefit from this learning journey that I'm going through. But if not, okay, then maybe the same for you. Cool. I think that's all the intro that I want to do. We're getting back into Surah As-Saffat, which is the chapter of the rows, as we were saying. Saffat, it's a bit unclear what it is. Is it the people in rows? Is it angels in rows? It literally means the rows. And I think it can mean a variety of things. But, okay. Happy to be back. If you were watching my YouTube live, you would have seen me set up for like 15 to 20 minutes because I'm a professional. But anyway, let's get into the episode and the verses. I will read it in Arabic and I will discuss it in English. So I will make mistakes while reading it, but that's also part of learning, right? Learning is making mistakes. So if you don't like mistakes, don't watch. I need to charge my laptop. I'm super professional. Listen, hey, I'm trying a new setup. Everything's fine. All right, fine. I'm trying a new setup. I'm trying to do it with my MacBook rather than my Windows laptop. I'm trying to see if that makes anything any better or any worse. So please excuse any mistakes. Anyway, that's enough personalization. Let's get into the episode. All right. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. And off we go. Ooh, a little bit nervous. وَإِنَّا مِنْ شِيعَتِهِ لَإِبْرَاهِيمَ. And indeed, from his kind is Abraham. Who were we talking about before this? It's been a cute minute. Noah. And from Noah's people is Abraham, which we know. Yeah, in order, Abraham came before Noah. And now we're talking about Abraham as a follow-up from Noah. Yeah. So what happened to Abraham? إِذْ جَاءَ رَبَّهُ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. When he came to his Lord with a heart that is at peace, that is sound, that is pure. They're like, I think at peace sounds good, but like usually if you have a pure heart, your heart is at peace because you have nothing weighing upon your heart. So the indication of peace, of purity, of like safety, sound put together, it all prescribes something uncorrupted. إذ قال لأبيه وقومه ماذا تعبدون. When he said to his father and his people, what are you worshipping? أئفكا آلهة دون الله تريدون. Is it false gods other than God that you desire? There's that word again, dun. It can mean as a replacement or without, but here in this case it obviously means as a replacement. أئفكا آلهة دون الله تريدون. Is it false gods other than gods that you desire? فما ظنكم برب العالمين. Is it fine? Yeah, it is fine. So what do you think about the Lord of the worlds? Here they've changed it to the what do you expect from the Lord of the world? But I think what do you think of makes more sense. فما ظنكم برب العالمين. Because I would imagine him saying, so what do you think about Lord, God of the worlds? The Lord, the source, the ultimate. And people are like, oh, what God do you believe in? And if you believe in one God, not many, are you then denying 30,000 or 30 million and believing in one? When Abraham speaks, when the Quran speaks, when the Muslims, Jews, and Christians speak of God, they refer to one. And that is absolutely true. I'm not going to get into certain debates that some people might be thinking right now. But anyway, he says, so what do you think about the God of everything? Like, why are you worshiping these idols? What about the God of everything? Now, here's where it gets a little bit interesting and confusing. فَنَظَرَ نَظْرَةً فِي النُّجُومِ. So he glanced a glance at the stars. Now here they've added a footnote that says his people reportedly made decisions based on constellations, which I believe to be true. Here they're saying, so Abraham pretended to do the same to convince them he was not able to join their pagan feast, which doesn't make sense. And we'll get into the next verse, and I'll tell you why it doesn't make sense even further. فَقَالَ إِنِّي سَقِيمٌ. So he said, I am sick. Then he said, I am really sick. Now, the reason why it doesn't make sense, why would you need to look to the stars to say that I am sick? The stars don't reveal what is happening within you. You reveal what is happening within you. The stars don't do the same. And clearly, these two are connected. He looked up in the stars, and then he said, I am sick. Which I don't understand. But then the footnote continues and says, see footnote for 2682. That's Surah Hud? No. Yeah, Surah Al-Shu'ara. So here's 2682. And it says, وَالَّذِي أَطْمَعُ أَنْ يَغْفِرَ لِي خَطِيئَتِي يَوْمَ الدِّينِ. Now here I think Abraham is saying, and I hope that he will forgive me my flaws on the judgment day. And then you have a authentic narration by collected by At-Tamrizi that the Prophet Muhammad said that Abraham did not tell the full truth on 3 different occasions. Now there's one occasion that I am absolutely certain of, and there's 2 occasions that I cannot validate. But this is supposedly what the Prophet Muhammad said. Again, this is not I didn't say this, but this is not to judge what the hadith is saying. This is to focus directly on the Quran, but we have to talk about this because it's very interesting. When he justified his absence from the pagan festival by saying, I'm really sick, I don't know that he wasn't sick. Based off of the Quran, I know that Abraham said, فَقَالَ إِنِّي سَقِيمٌ. He said, I am sick. Now, whether or not he was sick or not is unclear. Is it a sickness of also, like, you could be like mentally sick, spiritually sick, physically sick? There's so many ways that this statement could theoretically be true. I do not know that this statement is untrue. All I know is that, according, as I understand it from the Quran, he said, I am sick. So it could be that he said that this wasn't true. This I'm not sure of. But this I am sure of. And when he destroyed the idols and blamed it on the biggest one, in the Quran, it does talk about the narration, and I think we've covered it already, about Abraham destroying the statues and then putting the axe by the biggest statue. And when they come to him, they're like, who destroyed our statues? He goes, I didn't destroy it. That statue destroyed it. That lie is written by the Quran and described in clear detail. He does blame his behavior on the statue. Obviously for the purpose of sarcasm, obviously for the purpose of irony, clearly it can't happen because those things can't, those are just statues, they don't do anything. So there was a reason for it, but he did utter a falsehood, and this is one that is verified by the Quran. We know that he said he's sick in this verses that we've covered. We don't know that he wasn't sick, and like sickness can be a variety of things. And it is tied to him looking at the stars, and I don't understand that. فَنَظَرَ نَظْرَةً فِي النُّجُومِ فَقَالَ إِنِّي سَقِيمٌ. He took a glance at the stars and then said, I am sick. What do those 2 things have to do with each other? I don't see within the context of the Quran that he was pretending to do what they were doing. I do see a connection between this, and I don't understand what looking at the stars had to do with him being sick. For me, it's missing a bit of information. But we do know that he has lied in the other story when he sees the big one. Also, the third one is, and when he said that Sarah was his sister to save her from a tyrant ruler, I have no idea what this is talking about. As you noticed, this one has a verse, this one has a verse. This one's the verse that we're reading. This one's the verse that we've already covered in chapter 21, obviously. And this one has no verse. So I don't know where the story comes from. I cannot validate it. I cannot talk about it. I don't know. But it's just interesting. And then it continues with the story of Abraham. فَتَوَلَّوْا عَنْهُ مُدْبِرِينَ. So they turned away from him, departing. Now, they could have turned away from him because he's sick. They could have turned away from him because they gave up. He didn't want to join. Either way, they turned away from him. That's all we know. And that's all that matters. فَرَاغَ إِلَىٰ آلِهَتِهِمْ فَقَالَ أَلَّا تَأْكُلُونَ. Then he turned to their gods, primarily their idols, the statues of their that they used to worship. And he said, do you not eat? Which I find fascinating. Because this I can visualize completely. Like this whole concept of like looking at these things that everybody's worshiping and they're just statues. And you're like, but you don't even eat. How? Like, it's not just... the question isn't whether statues eat or not, because obviously they don't. The question's almost rhetorical, like, you can't even sustain life for yourself, yet people worship you. Like, there's a philosophical conundrum with that. It's just very interesting. مَا لَكُمْ لَا تَنْطِقُونَ. What is with you, you do not speak. You can't eat, you can't speak. And then فَرَاغَ عَلَيْهِمْ ضَرْبًا بِالْيَمِينِ. And then he turned upon them, striking them with his right hand. Now, I've always had a wonder. What was it that motivated him to destroy them? I don't know if we covered this in a previous chapter. Maybe it was covered in these verses that I did not see. Did they talk about his motivation in 21? Because I think... bring him to me. Young man, they protested, how dare you do this to our gods? So he smashed them to pieces. Yeah. He said they left the big one. Then he said to himself, by God, I will surely plot against your idols after you have turned your backs and gone away. He just said, by God, I will surely plot against your idols. Yeah, it doesn't say that he was instructed to do that, right? And this is particularly interesting to me. Was it his motivation to destroy the idols and then blame? And then what is the lesson that we have to learn from Abraham's doing of this? Because he destroyed... Yeah, it was him that decided. It wasn't that God told him to do that. But God is telling us about his story, and he's recounting it multiple times. So what do we learn from this? Abraham acted of his own accord. Oh, okay, I have to do this. Acted of his own accord. Destroyed something that other people valued and worshipped, and then lied about the reason for it. It's just not what you would expect from a prophet. But then that kind of reminds you of a prophet and a messenger are also human, and they can act rashly or aggressively, and that might actually be good. Yeah, I don't know. Whew, my brain's hurt. Anyway, he struck them all. فَأَقْبَلُوا إِلَيْهِ يَزِفُونَ. So they advanced towards him running quickly, moving quickly. His people came to him rushing quickly. قال أتعبدون ما تنحتون. So he said, how can you worship what you have craved with your own hands, what you carve? Do you worship what you make? والله خلقكم وما تعملون. And God, while God created you and what you do and what you make, you worship that which you have created rather than what created you. Also, we know how this ends. We know that he gets burned on the stake and God makes it cool, which is like very interesting. قالوا ابنوا له بنيانا فالقوه في الجحيم. They said, build for him a structure and then throw him into the blazing fire. Oh. Yeah, we know this, don't we? Have we covered it already, or have I read it just now? Okay. فأرادوا به كيدا فجعلناهم الأسفلين. So they intended a plot for him, but we made them the lowest. We made them inferior. We made them weaker. Yeah, I don't think it covers it here. But we did cover it in the previous chapter, that they put him to the fire and God made the fire cool so that it didn't burn him at all. Either way, they all plotted against him and then they all lost. Which I guess is a key signifier of Abraham and what he was doing. It's not just that he can destroy and he can lie. All of it, what he was doing was to spread the message of God and get people to believe in God. So his mission was holy, and it's not as simple as he lied. Anyway, وقال إني ذاهب إلى ربي سيهدين. And he said, I am going to my God, my Lord, he will guide me. Ooh. ربي هب لي من الصالحين. Now first he said, guide me. Then he said, God, grant me from the righteous. Now we understand it to be righteous offspring. But it doesn't actually say that. It says, my Lord, grant me of the righteous. It is understood that he's asking for a righteous son, but he's saying, grant me from the righteous. And then it says, فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ حَلِيمٍ. So we gave him good tidings of a boy that is forbearing. We gave him, again, it doesn't say forbearing son. There is another reference to the angels giving him good news of a son. And we are going to talk about it in a second. So maybe I'll hold off my conclusions. I'm just trying to read the words. So we gave him good tidings of a boy that is forbearing, and I always never know what forbearing means. Person who's patient, tolerant, and calm. Yeah. So we gave him good news of a boy that is patient and forbearing and calm. فلما بلغ معه السعي قال يا بني. Okay, it is definitely his son. فلما بلغ معه السعي قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك فانظر ماذا ترى قال يا أبتي افعل ما تؤمر ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصابرين. So it's definitely his son, and I wasted a bunch of time talking about nothing. And he granted for him a righteous son. So not only a righteous son, but he's forbearing, he's patient, he's enduring. And then when the son reached of age, he said, my son, indeed I have seen in my dream, in my sleep. Manam is my sleep. We understand it to be the dream. But dream is not maybe the right word. We just know that he is sleeping and he has been given some sort of instruction, which is terrifying. That I sacrifice you, so look, what do you see? So Abraham had a dream, or Abraham in his sleep saw that he was killing his son, and he felt like it wasn't just a dream. He felt like it was something that he had to do. So he went to his son, which I'm specifically not using his son's name for a reason. He went to his son to ask him, what should I do? So he said, "O my father, do what you are commanded. You will find me, if God wills, from the patient ones." Yeah. So Abraham talks to his son. "I had a dream. I must sacrifice you. In my sleep, I knew that I must sacrifice you. So tell me what to think." He said, "Do what you are commanded to. God willing, you will find me of the patient ones," and that's what forbearing means. So Halim. فلما أسلم وتلاه للجبين. So when فلما أسلم, when they both submitted, وتله للجبين, and when he put him down up to his forehead so that he's about to sacrifice him. You all may know the story. وَنَادَيْنَاهُ أَنْ يَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ, and we called out to him, "O Abraham, قَدْ صَدَّقْتَ الرُّؤْيَا إِنَّا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ." Verily you have fulfilled the vision, and we thus have reward the do-gooders, those who do good. Now, what exactly did he say the vision was? That I sacrifice you. The reason why I'm fixating on that, because if the vision was sacrificing his son, then he didn't complete the vision. You have fulfilled the vision. Seems like a dumb technicality, but this is exactly what I'm studying for. I'm trying to understand literally every moment. If he had a vision, because vision is the correct word, not dream. If he had a vision that he sacrificed his son, and then as he put his forehead down, they say, "You have fulfilled the vision." Obviously, the caveat could be like, because he genuinely intended to sacrifice his son, and God has perspective on it, then the vision has been fulfilled through his intention, not through his action. Which is interesting. It's not based on the action, it's based on the intention. Somehow intending to I mean, like, we could dumb it down and say, oh, obviously he was about to do it, therefore it gets done. But here it specifically says you have fulfilled the vision. Yeah. Maybe I'm getting stuck on a point that doesn't make sense. إِنَّ كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. This is how we save the reward the good doers. And I think that's kind of the point of this story. The point of the story is that you're willing to sacrifice your own son because you believe that God told you so. Not only that, but your son also told you that your son also told you to do it because he was also a prophet. Now, this next verse. Oh, yeah. إن هذا لهو البلاء المبين. Indeed, this is the trial that is clear, the test, the truly revealing test. And that's kind of the point. In some ways, it feels intense, like having to pass such a test like this. But yeah, considering what life is and that the stakes in life are the most severe, it has to the test has to be as severe as how far you're willing to go for your faith. وفديناه بذبح عظيم. بذبح وفديناه بذبح عظيم. So we ransomed him with a sacrifice that is great. That's the lamb. And that's why we have now here they've used the word Ismail because they want to talk about the name of the son, but what's specifically not mentioned in the story is the name of the son. Okay. وتركنا عليه في الآخرين. And we have left for him among the later generations, which means here they talk about with honorable mention. I don't necessarily know that it has to be about honorable mention, because I do think this also is talking about his progeny and his legacy and his words living through multiple generations and his action. Like, he became the forefather of religion as we know it. Not just because we mention him, but because his will, his sacrifice, his story lives on through all of us. You know? It's more than just honorable mention. It's his name, his progeny, his children. Yeah. Salamun ala Ibrahim. Peace be upon Abraham. Which, again, I say something and then immediately they show me an honorable mention. But I don't think like وَتَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. I think we left him on the Asr, and then Salamun ala Ibrahim. For me, this feels like something that we all say. Also, we all say this in every prayer. Salamun ala Ibrahim. Allahumma sallam ala Muhammad. No, well, we technically say اللهم سلم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت. لا, صلي على محمد وعلى آل محمد وبارك على محمد. Yeah, no, not exactly. We don't say this in every prayer. Sorry, I'm a bit rusty. But this feels like the Quran is saying Salamun ala Ibrahim, and everyone who is reading the Quran is saying this. So we are mentioning and we are saying peace be upon him. Yeah. He is honorable mention, but I think it's not just the mention. It's more than that. كذلك نجزي المحسنين. And this is how we reward the good doers, the ones who do good. إنه من عبادنا المؤمنين. Indeed, he is of our slaves that believe. They love using the word servants. I love using the word slave, because slave means you belong to. And all of your actions belong to. And that is our relationship to God. We are slaves. You may not like it, but it's true. Okay. وَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِإِسْحَاقَ نَبِيًّا مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. And we give him good tidings of Isaac, a prophet from the righteous. Now, I've been avoiding saying the name of the son that he is about to sacrifice because of this footnote. The birth of Isaac is announced after the story of the sacrifice, so this is proof that the son who is going to be sacrificed was Ishmael, not Isaac. It's also supported by 1171 when Sarah is told that she would give birth to Isaac. We're going to look at 1171 in a second. Couple of things. First of all, yes, it does mention Isaac after the story of the sacrifice. So it's plausible that it was another son of Abraham, not Isaac. It definitely does not mention Ishmael. For all we know, it could have been another son. So let's take a look at 1171. 1171, we were talking about Qawm Lut, and that when Abraham and his wife, which we believe to be Sarah, were given good news by the angels that she's going to have a child, she laughed. She laughed when she realized they weren't going to attack them. And then they said, we give good tidings of Isaac from after her, and after Isaac, Jacob. Which then, did all of this happen after the story of the sacrifice? I don't think so. It doesn't make sense that this all happened after the story of the sacrifice. Because in this story, Abraham and his wife were old and they didn't have children. And then the angels told them, we're going to give you a child. Right? I'm not hallucinating. They didn't have any children. Well, does it say that she didn't have any children? Or does it say that just at their old age they had a child as well? Yeah, so the story starts here. Abraham, greeting peace. And when he saw their hands and reached, they referred to him that we were angels sent for the people of Lot. His wife was laughing. Then we gave her good news of the birth of Isaac. It doesn't say that she was barren. I mean, it does say she was barren, but it doesn't say if she already had children or not. Right? Did Abraham have a child before Isaac? Quran. Yes, according to the Quran, Prophet Abraham had a child. His firstborn son was Ishmael. No, it doesn't. Ishmael is not mentioned in the Quran. From angels. But why would you talk about... Quran references of firstborn of Abraham. Surah Al-Safat, we've talked about it. Glad tidings of the firstborn. Surah Ibrahim. Oh, does it mention Ismail? Oh, it does mention Ismail. Yeah, Ismail was Haq. Oh my god, wow. Okay, so yeah, I am rusty. He does mention Ismail. على الكبر. Yeah. Okay, I think we're getting closer to the answer. Yeah, it definitely mentions Ishmael. Surah Al-Safat, the sacrifice. But it doesn't mention the order. I mean, yeah, there is some reason to indicate that the story of Isaac happened after the story of the sacrifice. Which was the old age one? This was the old age. All praise be to Ismail Nasla. You certainly know what we conceal and what we reveal. Nothing on earth or in heaven is hidden from God. Oh, here they're talking about... So here he's talking about children. My Lord, most graceful, make the city of Mecca safe. I have settled some of I have settled some of my offspring in the barren valley, so that you may take it. Our Lord, you know nothing of what you conceal, nor in the heavens. All praise be for God, who has blessed me with this Mount Isaac in my old age. My Lord is indeed the hearer of all prayers. We don't know. Quran references the firstborn. It doesn't actually say. If we have only this as the reference, it does indicate that Ismail came first. My brain's not able to wrap my head around it. And maybe I'm not supposed to wrap my head around it. I know... Yeah, here it says... Bless me with Ismail and Isaac in my old age. I feel like I need one more. There's Surah Al-Baqarah. The man of the sacrifice. What's verse 47? No. According to these four verses, I don't get it. I know that it is likely that he is giving him good tidings of Isaac as a prophet from the righteous after the story of the sacrifice. But that does not necessarily have to be the case. The Quran jumps back and forth between how things are revealed and what they're talking about. So it's fair to assume that Isaac came after Ismail and Ismail was the one that was sacrificed, but it's not possible to confirm it, is my claim as I understand it. I don't know the order that they came in. I don't know who came first. I don't know who came second. If I'm going off of my gut feeling, I had a feeling it was Isaac because of his ability to have prophetic dreams. He was a prophet. Quran references of Ishmael. Surah Ibrahim, Surah Maryam. He was a messenger prophet. Surah Al-Safat, Surah Al-Baqarah, listed as a prophet. Ishmael, steadfast. Noting they were steadfast and patient. Actually, hang on a second. Sorry. Because if the keyword is Halim, then we can kind of... No, كان من الصابرين, patient ones, which is Halim. All general verses mentioning Abraham and his sons, always Ismail is mentioned first, so Ismail was a prophet. I believe that Ismail was a prophet, and definitely because this chapter is called Al-Anbiya, the prophets. I definitely believe that Ismail was a prophet. The question is, who was the son of Abraham that this was talking about? The question is, it would make the most sense to, based off of the logical flow, that first it came Ismail and then came Isaac. I'm just not certain. The fact that you're mentioning it, that Ismail is always mentioned first, does kind of indicate that he was first, right? Ismail was Ishaq, for example. That's actually a good point. There's another point. Ismail and Ishaq means that Ismail was first, which I would imagine, because that's generally how the order goes. Whenever it's mentioning them, it's always mentioning them in chronological order. I would say it's a safe bet to assume that it was Ismail and not Isaac. I'm just not 100% certain, is all. Okay, interesting little rabbit hole that we went down. Oh yeah, how are we doing on time? I don't know. 38 minutes. Fantastic. Long episodes. But it doesn't matter. If you don't like this type of stuff, then you shouldn't be watching. وَلَقَدْ مَنَنَّا عَلَى مُوسَى وَهَارُونَ. And certainly we have conferred, we've bestowed favor. We leaned upon them with favor over Moses and Aaron. We've talked about them many times. وَنَجَّيْنَاهُمَا وَقَوْمَهُمَا مِنَ الْكَرْبِ الْعَظِيمِ. And we saved both of them and their people from the disaster that is great, the great distress. وَنَصَرْنَاهُمْ فَكَانُوا هُمُ الْغَالِبِينَ. And we saved them or helped them prevail or win. We helped them, so they were the ones who became the victors. وَأَتَيْنَاهُمَا الْكِتَابَ الْمُسْتَبِينَ. And we both gave them the book that is clear. وَهَدَيْنَاهُمَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمَ. And we have guided them both to the path that is straight. Yeah, pretty straightforward. وَتَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِمَا فِي الْآخِرِينَ. And we left upon them in the later generations. Again, it's that verse that we were talking about. تَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. That means we have left upon them in the later generations. Honorable mention is not necessarily said, but it's also understood to be a part of it. They also had offspring. Their stories are definitely honorable mention. I'm just trying to think if it was more. I don't know if we know of Moses' children or offspring. I don't think we know of any, nor of Aaron's. So definitely honorable mention, maybe more, so to speak. سلام على موسى وهارون. And from the same thing that it followed, honorable mention, it does mention is peace be upon Moses and Aaron. So again, definitely honorable mention, maybe more is my claim. إنا كذلك نجزي المحسنين. Indeed, this is how we reward the good doers. Now this is going to bring an interesting concept of what Surah As-Saffat is about. In this chapter, we talk about many of the messengers and prophets, and we're going to talk about one more before the end of today, that God saved. And it might be in connection to mention peace. Let's do one more, and then we will kind of get to the conclusion as much as we can. إنهما من عبادنا المؤمنين. Indeed, both of them are from our servants or slaves. I prefer the term slaves that are believing. وإن إلياس لمن المرسلين. Okay, we're going to cover two more before we get there. And Elijah was of the messengers. إذ قال لقومه ألا تتقون. When he said to his people, will you not fear? Usually it ends with تتقوني with the kasra, but this time it ends with تتقون. This one makes more sense. Will you not fear God? Because ألا تتقون Allah would, but maybe my limited understanding of grammar is not good enough. Either way, it's the same thing that most of the messengers say, do you not fear? And usually they mean, it's not fear. Are you not mindful? Well, you're not mindful of God. أتدعون بعلا وتذرون أحسن الخالقين. Do you call Baal and you forsake the best of the creators? Why does it say the best of the creators? Does it mean that the others create as well? Because one of the arguments of the Quran was always that what do they create? God creates, but what do they create? And here it says the best of the creators. Well, then in some sense, are we not creators as well? Do we not create thought? Do we not create things? I mean, obviously you can kind of bring it back all to God, but maybe there are different. Do you call upon Baal and abandon the best of creators? I'm just trying to understand, do they create or do they not? In reference to the other parts of the Quran, it said, it challenged them with what do they create. So maybe I misunderstood something. Most likely I misunderstood something. Allah rabbakum wa rabba abaikum. Allah rabbakum wa rabba abaikum al-awwalin. God, the Lord, your Lord, and the Lord of your forefathers, the first forefathers, the originators. فكذبوه فإنهم لمحضرون. فكذبوه فإنهم لمحضرون. But they denied him, so indeed they will surely be brought. They will be brought forth. We understand it to be for punishment, but it could be for something else. You never know. I think your understanding is correct. I can't remember what I said. That they don't create, or that they do create. What is my understanding? I thought that the other gods didn't create. That's the claim. Maybe then it's not talking about God, but it's talking about us. And are we then creating? I said a lot of things that you're saying that they do create. Oh. Okay. Well, let me just focus on what's being said for now. فَكَذَّبُوهُ فَإِنَّهُمْ لَمُحْضَرُونَ. So they denied him, so they will be brought forth, except the slaves of إِلَّا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ الْمُخْلَصِينَ, except for the slaves of God that are chosen. مخلصين. إِلَّا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ الْمُخْلَصِينَ. Why do I feel like this was the exalted ones? Oh, is exalted chosen? I think exalted is. Is exalted chosen? My brain is choosing a word. Someone who's being held in very high regard, possessing a superior rank, or having noble, lofty character. So it's beyond being chosen. It's being elevated. And like they are chosen in a way, but they're also like, yeah, exalted is the word that comes to mind. The special. وَتَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. And we have left upon him in the later generations. سَلَامٌ عَلَى آلِ يَاسِينَ. Peace be upon the people of Yasin. It refers to him differently. First it referred to him as Ilyas, and then it said Ali Yasin. Huh? Was that his last name? Ilyas Yasin? Elijah. Ali Yasin, the people of Yasin, the family of Yasin. And it's not saying peace be upon Ilyas, it's saying peace be upon the people of Yasin. Whoa. By the way, I watch your channel for now and then. Your study and see how you understand the verses the first time is very interesting. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm trying my best to learn to do it. And that's the purpose of this channel. Hopefully one day I'll get to a place where I am more comfortable. But for now, we're learning. And as long as we're learning, we're having fun. Ilyas Yasin. What an interesting combination of names. Ilyas Yasin. And I feel like there's another, well, I was going to say there's another chapter in the Quran called Yasin, but I think that's 2 letters rather than Yasin. And peace be upon his family. Interesting. Very interesting. إِنَّا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Indeed, this is how we reward the good doers. Again, time and time again. إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. He is from our faithful servant. وَإِنَّ لُوطًا لَمِنَ الْمُرْسِلِينَ. And indeed, Lut was of the messengers. Wow, we're talking a lot more messengers in a short time. إِذْ نَجَّيْنَاهُ وَأَهْلَهُ أَجْمَعِينَ. If we saved him and his family all together. إِلَّا عَجُوزًا فِي الْغَابِرِينَ. Except an old woman who remained behind, the old woman being his wife, which again, why I think the story of Lut and Sodom and Gomorrah is a bit more nuanced than you imagine, but see my other episodes for that. ثُمَّ دَمَّرْنَا الْآخِرِينَ. ثُمَّ دَمَّرْنَا الْآخَرِينَ. Then we destroyed the others. وَإِنَّكُمْ لَتَمُرُّونَ عَلَيْهِمْ مُصْبِحِينَ. Another verse that I don't fully understand. I'm going to read this and the next verse and then explain them together as much as I understand it. وَإِنَّكُمْ لَتَمُرُّونَ وَإِنَّكُمْ لَتَمُرُّونَ عَلَيْهِمْ مُصْبِحِينَ وَبِاللَّيْلِ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Indeed, you surely pass upon them in the morning and at night. Then will you not use your reason? Now here they're saying pass by their ruins, but it doesn't make sense. You will pass by upon them in the morning and in the night. Kind of gives me an indication of the earth turning. Why? If you're passing by at night and then passing by a day, then it's not just about the earth turning. But what does it mean that they were passing by at night and at day? At day and at night. إِنَّكُمْ لَتَمَرُّونَ. You will pass by them. What does the morning and the night have to do with passing by them? It is time-bound. It is specifically about time. So that's why I thought about the earth rotating first, because I was like, okay, something happens at night, something happens during the day. But passing by them, and that's why I thought, like, if they're in a fixed place and the earth is rotating, then somehow you're passing by them. I don't know. Okay, and the last prophet, or the last messenger for today. وَإِنَّ يُونَسَ لَمِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. And indeed, Jonah was one of the messengers. إذ أبق إلى الفلك المشحون, when he ran away to the ship that is lit, that is fully loaded. فساهم فكان من المدحضين, then they drew lots to see who's going to get thrown off the boat. We saw this in another verse, and he was one of the ones of the losers. He drew the short the short stick, and he got thrown over because there was a storm and they needed to throw someone off the board so that they can save the ship, and he drew the short stick. We have covered this in another verse, so I don't know how to explain it that much. فالتقمه الحوت وهو مليم, then the whale swallowed him while he was blameworthy, while he was to blame. فلولا أنه كان من المسبحين, if he had not been one of the ones that was glorifying God. The lesson is good deeds are, we'll get to what the lesson is. للبث في بطنه إلى يوم يبعثون. للبث في بطنه إلى يوم يبعثون. If he had not been one of the ones to glorify God's praises, he would have stayed in the stomach of the whale until the day they are resurrected. Now, for me, this is one of the most powerful lessons of this verse, and if anything, we have seen time and time again in the past examples. Messenger, struggle, worship, faith, safe. The reason why this is important to me is because when I first, not immediately when I reverted back to Islam, or reverted back to faith, I prefer saying that, reverted back to God and reverted back to being a believer. Immediately, I didn't start praying, but I had a moment where I was scared and I felt like I was being targeted by spiritual entities, by the devil and co. And I felt like they were well within my walls, within my body, within my system. So this was one of the first ones that I was told to listen to this chapter on repeat. Thank God I was home alone because I had a roommate at the time. She was traveling. I listened to this on repeat until I felt safer. And if the message that kept coming over and over again was stuck. Praise God's praises, get saved. Ask and you shall receive. Remember, remind, mention. Those behaviors save you in a lot of ways. And that for me is, I think, one of the main points of this chapter. One thing I would like to look into next is how the order of the Quran. I mean, I know that the Prophet Muhammad told us the order, but I want to know what the order of release was. I was curious about it the other day, and I didn't get into it. But yeah, just under an hour for the first episode back. I'm a bit slower, but also I'm no longer trying to contain the episodes within time. I'm trying to understand to the best of my ability, which means they're going to be longer, which means I'm not going to have you for the whole time, but that's fine by me. I'm here to learn. Okay. As usual, always under the Sadaq Allah al-Ali al-Azim, and we stop at the star. Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, wow, well done. And I will catch you when I catch you. I'm not going to make any promise of when I release episodes. I will release an episode when it makes sense. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Ma salami. Bye.